Hello guys, Chris from NGG here, and first of all apologies for the lack of content over the last couple of days for myself, or a couple of weeks sorry for myself. It's just the game's been pretty dry. Not really do articles on, Euros is done, the NAWCQ's done, so it doesn't feel like there's much to talk about on Tech Tuesdays because there's no real tournaments about. But I've decided to make a video because I went to locals and played gadgets. And mostly I'll be talking about is obviously the new gadgets, gold and silver. I'm not going to be talking them in general, like all their applications. That can maybe be a different video, but this is just talking about how gold and silver make gadgets way more competitive. Maybe still not up there in a meta sense, but still getting pretty close and far better than they were before. So I'm going to run through the deck, run through what the gadgets do for the deck, and that's sort of like a mini deck profile. So starting off, we have two of each gadget. So 6 altogether. You don't want to play more than that because you'll just get a handful of gadgets and they don't do much by themselves. 9 used to be viable, but now with the addition of the 3 and 3, you don't really need it anymore because when these guys are popped, they get any of these. And if you don't know what they do by now, gold and silver have the exact same effect. It's just that they're going to use one of their effects once per turn. But when they're normal summon or special summoned, they special summon a level 4 machine type monster from your hand. So that can be themselves or any of the mini gadgets. So obviously you can go summon, trigger, summon, trigger, summon, trigger. So a lot of summoning, a lot of triggers. It does give the deck a lot of explosive plays, especially like an Envious Call of Haunted. Just bring us up and go empty your hand and just go into all the XCs like your Giga X and all the usual. Gadgets haven't been relevant quite some time. Last time they were really relevant would have been Ultimate Offering days, maybe McKenna days. But this is probably the closest it came in quite some time, thanks to these boys. Probably the best hand you want to open is silver and yellow to go silver, yellow, search the green, go into Giga Net and set Call of Haunted, and then at the end phase you've obviously got a pretty good play. If you search like gold, you can go silver, gold, green, maybe Ouroboros or something. But yeah, that's the 12 gadgets. Then for extras you've got 2 10 goldfish. You can play 2 or 3, doesn't really matter, but obviously this is the normal summon, the prime normal summon, because it can't get effect when special summon. So you go normal summon, trigger silver, trigger gold, trigger red, blue, yellow. Some people are calling them the judo gadgets, gold and silver, and then the old ones are the Kanto gadgets, green, red, yellow. So you can play 3 of these. You can play anything that's really special summoning wise. I've been experimenting with what do you call them? Red Resonator, I think he's called, the level 2 tuner version of this basically. It's normal summon, special summon a level 4 monster from your hand. Triggers them all, so that's kind of handy. But you can play 10 goldfish just because of the machine. I'm going to play 2 because you can get it, search it back, you can X, etc. And then I'm playing 3 maxi because gadgets don't do a lot, so you need to make sure that your opponent is doing that equal amount, or give you a lot of cards to counter your opponent doing that great amount. So I think maxi is perfect. It's obviously not as useful as it was during the Redux days because you have multiple uses for it, but it's still, I think, a key card, especially for gadgets, especially like a slow grindy deck. You need maxi to either plus like crazy because you naturally don't, or like I said, to slow down your opponent's game. So that's the monsters. There is 12 to 14, 17 monsters, 14 real ones I guess. Spells, I would heavily advise playing some sort of ratio over Geki and Darkhold because the gadgets by themselves aren't very big. Like for normal summons they're decent, especially gold, but the things they make aren't very big. So you want to take out the destroyers, the monarchs. You just want to have as big a field clearances. When gadgets first came out, that's what it was all about. It's just reactive, destructive, spell and traps. To summon the gadget, having just constant, consistent monster every turn, and that's how you won. It's a very grindy deck. So obviously all the master removal is pretty darn handy. Limiter removal, just cards that give your deck unfair things. Limiter removal and soul charge make this deck do pretty unfair things, and that's what you want to play the maximum amount of. Limiter removal is even better now because the gold and silver actually trigger if you don't have a chance. Like if you play it in your opponent's turn, at least if gold and silver die, they'll gain their effects. So it has uses like that rather than just blowing up gadgets for no real purpose. But this obviously makes the gadgets huge, makes kicking it huge, and just creates OTKs. Soul charge because they all trigger, so you can create big boards with very little monsters actually being bought back, just like a gold or silver. Trigger them all, special summon them all. Soul charge is just fantastic in this deck. We're playing the Noodles, 2 instant fusion for Norden obviously. Like I said, this deck can OTK the drop of a hat. So just this adds on to it. The main use for this is not using your normal summon to emerald back into gadgets, just so your deck has more stamina and more grind game and just keeps going. That's what I find in Fusion's main purpose is. One Upstart Goblin, this is a bit of a yes no. You do want consistency, you want to see gold and silver as soon as possible because they are the MVPs of the deck now. But obviously, if you've ever played gadgets before, you know that this is kind of a double-edged sword. That if you could draw into all your back row and all your combo pieces, but more than likely you draw into the gadget and probably the same gadget you've just searched. So you can play Upstart Goblin. Some people are talking about a card of demise or anything, which I think's kind of because this is a back row heavy deck, but you can't play demise because obviously they just completely conflict with one another on levels unimaginable. So I'm just upsearching on what you can play. You can't play Prodigality either because you do trans special summon with gold and silver. And lastly, for the spells, these can be Twin Twisters, they can be MSTs, it doesn't matter, just stuff to get rid of back row. Because although back row doesn't really hurt you that much because everything really replaces itself, strike still sucks. Striking your gadget on the summon, especially with the normal summon, strike or hurts big time. The gold and silver getting striked on their summon because they don't get their other effect because they're only once per turn. Just stuff like that. So getting rid of that. It can be a Twin Twister if you want. I just don't feel like there's very many cards in my deck I want to discard. So I played MST. Probably should have played Twin Twister because I went against Demise. But like I said, just stuff like that. You need just removal, just to simplify the game state, bring it down to your level, and being able to outgrind your opponent. Starting on with the traps, probably the most important portion of the deck. And these can be any mirror force you want. I am directly conflicted between these and the burning one because the lower down you get your opponent, the better, because you are a grindy deck. You just slowly chip away damage, so a massive amount of damage all at once really helps you. Or this is just fantastic against the likes of Cosmo or any decks that are trying to punish you or trying to put damage on you quickly. Flip them off face down, and you can just, especially if you hit like a near full board of 3 to 4 or 5 cards, 5's fantastic, but sort of like that, then you can just play your game, set up your setup, and then you can let your opponent play when you feel like you want them to play. So that's why I play these. Between burning or these, I'm not sure exactly what one will play. But stuff like that, just like the mass removal traps I was talking about from the old gadget days. The best trap in the deck is Call the Haunted. This is just so good. Opening a Jodo gadget and a Kanto gadget and Call the Haunted is probably my favourite opening. It just puts you, well, not so far ahead. It's still not as good in terms of the meta terms, but it is probably one of the deck's best plays. Because, like I said, your Kanto gadget will get another Kanto gadget. You get your Jodo gadget will be in the graveyard. You probably get going to X into the other Jodo gadget. So MV is you go Jodo, Jodo, Kanto, and it's obviously incredibly good. Call on is just a fantastic card. I wish there was a Iron Call is something else you can experiment with, but I'm not fussed on it. It is a spell version, but it does negate their effects. And I suppose you can still pop the gold and silver, but warning, put warning away at the minute. Trenchal, it's just a mass removal I'm talking about on summon. You don't really care if your gadgets get destroyed like that because it just basically replaced himself on summon. But literally gold and silver do replace themselves when Trenchal has been activated, just so long as they haven't activated their other effect this turn. So Trenchal is fantastic in this deck, and then you play obviously the most important traps of this format are the Solemns, and you have 2 striker, play 3. You just need effect negation, like I said, just grinding away, like any grindy deck would. It's not a floodgate deck, it's just exchanging resources, and the theory is you should come up on top because you just constantly have a monster in play. Then we're playing the trap holes because you've got Rafflesia. So, like I said, any combo. I just like this because no one sees it coming. Like, people have summoned things against me when I've got Rafflesia up, and they think, oh, you've maybe forgot. I'll try and activate the effect, and then I hit them with Trap Check, Trap Hole, Nightmare. It's really good. This can be any combination of trap hole. It's just I think Raffles is one of the best rank 4 exceeds we have at our disposal. It's not a fantastic exceed, but it is the best we have. So you may as well get the best use out of it. So these summon stoppers, and lastly, the only floodgate is emptiness. I just think this card's far too good. Like against the anti attacks, even against the EDM, I still think this is a very strong card. It just doesn't let your opponent play like any of the decks. So that's the main deck. Like I said, I've sort of talked about the cards you can experiment with. Kage to Kage, if you remember, if anyone's played gadgets, you know about Kage to Kage, King of the Feral Imp, search it, but there's no real room for that in the deck anymore, but by all means you can play it. You can play the Karakuri version of it, I guess. Some people have been playing that, but I'm not a big fan. So that's really all that you can do with gadgets with the new Johto and Kanto in terms of the main deck. The extra deck, I maxed out in gear kicking it. You can play 2 or 3. The only three material rank 4 I played was Ouroboros. It's gonna be Deltaros. It's really the only one I can think of. Can't really be the Bujin guy because you don't banish too many. But you can play Deltaros as well. Emerald, Double Dweller, just generic rank 4s, whatever you want to play, to be honest. Like, there's nothing really spring to mind that are specific to this deck other than Gigant. One Cowboy, Castell. Played this guy because of side rivalry. Rivalry is obviously one of the best floodgates this format because a lot of the decks, if not all of them, the meta decks get hurt by it. It's really the demise decks that don't. So I just wanted another non-gear kicking X machine to make, but this is perfectly cuttable. It was all just testing. One Rebellion, one Samurai for OTKs, because like I said, it's decking OTK really well. This was okay, I made it twice to OTK. Rafflesia, Norden, and Chimera Attack. Like I said, that could be anything you want. There's not really, there's actually 2 specific cards in the side, but I'll just show the side I played if in case you're wondering. 2 Gamma Seal, I'll leave these 2 out because they're the specific ones. The third MST, or Twister, whatever. Double System Down, literally for the mirror, I played it. That was fantastic. The Dark Hogs, like I said, if you're going second, you just want the big field clearances because your opponent's probably committed a lot of resources and they're trying to make an unbreakable board. And if you break it, due to how you play out and how you just keep resources going and diminish theirs, you're well on your way to winning. So one Dark Hole, that's the logic, and the Kaijus is the same thing. Full house for the Merb, Teller Knights, Demise decks. 3 Rivalry, which is probably the best floodgate of the